It's been like a week and a half since I last made a video. Sleep schedule's been messed up. Been busy, whatever. It's life. Anyways, new Incarnon week, Lato Vandal, or the normal Lato Incarnon. It's probably one of the better ones from this week. There's the Bratton, which is just a thumbs up. It's just a solid bullet hose gun. The Skana is here, which is kind of doo-doo. And then the Paris is here, which is awesome. The Kunai is here, which is awesome. And we have the Latron, the Lato here, which I really like. It's another ricochet pistol. It's obviously not the best ricochet pistol. It's probably the second or third. The dual toxocysts are obviously the king. And then the Sakaris is also up there. I really like the burst pistol incarnate mode on that thing. But I really like the Lato here, and it has the Vandal variant. If you're lucky enough to have the Prime, good for you. You're a founder. That's awesome. But I really like it. It's a normal ricochet pistol. There's nothing crazy to write home about. You aim down the sights, hold down the trigger, bullets ricochet, things die. So we'll demonstrate that here. We charge the Incarnate form, aim down the sights, hold down the trigger, things ricochet, and things die. It's pretty simple. We'll do it again because these guys on the edge don't get hit that often. And that's the room cleared. Pretty simple, pretty easy. There's no gimmicks, no tricks, no smoke, no mirrors. It's a very simple gun to use. And it's one of my favorites from this week specifically. Like I said, this week isn't too insane. I'd say this and the Paris Prime would be my go-tos. Other than that, there's really nothing insane going on this Incarnate week. So, let's talk about my Incarnon Perks on this thing, which also, there's not a lot going on here. So as for the first one, this is always like our base damage increases typically on these weapons. Here I have Haven Foray. With overshields, you get more base damage. You're going to be proccing this a decent amount. It's here. It's pretty useful. You're going to have it active every now and then, so it is pretty good. The other one, increased base damage when you reload from empty. We're like never going to be proccing this because we're going to be in Incarnate mode 24/7. So there is that. So obviously we're just going with the shield option here because we're just not using this for reloading and stuff like that. As for the second one, very similar situation. Plus accuracy and minus recoil. Super thumbs up for me. I always like quality of life stuff and making stuff feeling comfy. So this is my go-to. As for the other perks, there's literally no reason to use them. Ammo efficiency, whatever. There's better ways to get ammo efficiency on secondaries. And plus, ammo efficiency doesn't work on Incarnate modes, so there's zero reason to use this. Same thing for here. On kill, 50% chance for instant reload. Doesn't refill our Incarnate mode, so there's really no reason to use this here. Both of these are just like normal fire perks that you're probably never going to use or even want to use. There's really nothing that the primary fire does better than the Incarnate fire mode, so you're just kind of stuck picking Void's Guidance here, but you know, good thing it's a really good quality of life perk. As for our last one, I have the basically condition overload perk on. It's very good, feels great, feels awesome. There's not much to write home here. As for the others, the death trap trigger, the only gun I think this is worth using on is the Vasto Incarnate, just because of its insane fire rate and low mag size. On this gun specifically, no, I probably wouldn't ever use this. You can, it's not a bad choice. You will probably get consistent reds with this, with my build, but you have to keep weapon swapping. This is more of a keep it in your back pocket and keep the Incarnate mode charged, and then whip it out when the Acolyte shows up and then mow down the Acolyte real quick. But I don't think it's the best option if you're going to be using the Lato a lot. Maybe if it's something you are going to pull out every now and then, you go with this option and it'll be fun, but not for me. So condition overload, go to. Bonus crit here from pulling it out from your primary, also pretty good, but not a must pick. And as for Survivor's Edge, I like this one. I don't hate it. It's more consistent orange crits with my build. But I just prefer the condition overload from the third slot here. So these are honestly all good options. Two here, the second option requires a specific playstyle of primary swapping back and forth to this thing. So if that's your spiel, you want to do that, go ahead. This one, more consistent orange crits, but I like the way the condition overload perk feels. But you can't really go wrong with anything here, to be honest. So those are the Incarnon Perks. As for my build, it's nothing super insane or crazy. 3 galvanized mods. Galvanized crosshairs for our crit chance. This is a lot of stacking crit chance. Allows us to hit a decent amount of oranges while we're firing down hallways with this thing. So that feels great. Galvanized fusion. Multi-shots awesome. Prime target cracker. More crit damage. Pretty dang good. Obviously, you wanted to pair it up the crosshairs there. Viral heat. There's really nothing more to say here. It's viral heat. Seen it a billion times. Yes, you can run Nourish on your warframe and build something else here. Yes, you can run a million different elements. I'm not picky. Run whatever you want. Be comfortable. Pick whatever elements you like, but this is my go-to. Lethal Torrent, more multi-shot, more fire rate. Feels good, feels great. And then Galvanized Shot is here because more status chance, feels good. And it's a direct hit weapon. It's not an AoE weapon. Even though it is kind of with the ricochet, but not in the way that would make Galvanized Shot useless. So, thumbs up for me. I like my perk setup here. If you don't like galvanized crosshairs, which I know a lot of people don't, you just run Creeping Bullseye and put Lethal Torn over here and switch the mods around. So, that is an option. And then Arcanes. I have Primary Deadhead since we are going to be focusing on headshots to keep our crosshairs up. And then we get the bonus headshot multiplier, and it's super easy to stack while we're aiming for heads. So I really like Deadhead here. Obviously, Merciless is not bad at all. You could also go into Merciless and be just fine. Cascadia Flare, if you're running like a Sentinel that procs heat, and your Sentinel's keeping Cascadia Flare up 24/7, not a bad option at all. And then last but not least, secondary dexterity. Maybe you're running a melee weapon and you want to keep your melee weapon out 24/7 and you're heavy attacking or light attacking, and then you want to worry about the Lato every now and then. That's also an option, your secondary dexterity. So those are the ones I would go through. All the Acolyte Arcanes are pretty good. Merciless, Deadhead, Dexterity. And Cascadia Flare is pretty good if you can stay on top of rocking it. Those would be my go-tos, honestly. So, Arcanes, handled. Mod setup, handled. I'm going to equip a Sentinel here before I go into the mission. It's Death Cube. Alrighty. That's everything. So, I'm going to go into a Kuva Survival. Hopefully we get a tight hallway tile set, and I can just shoot down it with the ricochet bullets and have a good time. So, see you there. Alright. We are here on the Kuva Fortress. I'm going to try and get my Iron Skin here before things go wrong, so we can have a decent time. And there we go. Iron Skin acquired. Alright, now we're chilling. Should just be able to sit here and shoot down these hallways back and forth and not really have to worry about anything. I think the ricochet bullets have pretty insane range, I will say. They're nothing to scoff at. Sometimes it feels like they ricochet through walls. Maybe they do, but I could be wrong. But the ricochet does feel stronger than the dual toxocyst sometimes, but I don't think this weapon's better than the dual toxocyst. Don't read that from what I just said. The dual toxocysts are very clearly on top when it comes to the ricochet pistols, but I think the Lato is pretty dang good. I think it's worth using in your loadout. If you don't have access to the dual toxocyst at all, if it's going to be a while before you get it, I think this is probably the next best replacement. I was grinding Omnifishers like on Saturday night, Sunday night, and I was using the Sikaris, and I really like the Sikaris and its incarnate version with the ricochet bullets, but I don't think it felt as strong as this, to be honest. Maybe I got to relook at my build and go back to the drawing board, but I was using it and I'm like, man, I really wish I just had my Lato Vandal right now. instead of the Sicarius. So maybe it's a me problem. Maybe the Lato Vandal is number 2, really. But when it comes to these ricochet pistols, I really like this thing, man. And I like the way it sounds as well. It's very meaty and beefy. It sounds very nice. I am an enjoyer of the Lato Vandal Incarnon. And honestly, it's not a very strong week. Like, the Braton's like, okay, I'd rather use the Burstin. The Skana's the freaking Skana. Like, ooh. What else is there? There's the I really like the Paris. I do like the Paris. And the Kunai. The Kunai aren't bad. The Kunai are like little red crit monsters, and they home in on headshots, so they're very, very good with the galvanized scope on the secondary. But the I don't know. They're not definitely the strongest. I really like them on Ivara for like the you know, ninja and stealth aesthetic, and like trying to build within theme in my loadout. I always like to try and do that and have fun that way. But yeah, the Kunai, pretty good. I think they're also worth getting. But if this is your first time experiencing this week, and you like desperately need to know what to pick and get some direction, it's definitely the Paris and this for me. I would be very happy if I had those 2 weapons. And that was the first 2. No, I picked the Paris and the Kunai the first time they rolled around, actually. I was about to say I picked the Lato and the Bratton, but that would be a lie. It was the Kunai and the Paris. I remember it now. I remember being obsessed with the AoE on the Paris when it first came out. I thought it was insane. And then they gave the literal other bow. Also, what'd you call it? AoE, the Dread Incarnon is basically an AoE launcher. So it is what it is. A lot of the Incarnons are kind of the same if the weapons like carry over in the same category, so it's honestly not that surprising. But I keep rolling into that. It's like the second or third time I've done that so far, and I have all this overguard. I do not need to roll into that at all. But like I said, we are getting a decent amount of oranges, but they certainly aren't, I would not say, consistent oranges with this build. But, big but, I just way prefer the condition overload. I don't know. I'm funky like that. I'm sure there's probably some like nasty raw numbers to look at when it comes to the 2 versus each other, the condition overload versus the bonus crit for more consistent oranges, but I don't care. I go with what feels good. And this feels pretty dang good to me, if I do say so myself. I'm having a good time. Obviously, it's kind of, you know, Mickey Mouse running around the Kuva hallways with this gun, but that's kind of the point. I don't think this thing's going to be able to get 9 million KPM in the streets of Halvania. So we're in here where it can carry itself. You know, I'm not even proccing Roar. I'm not doing any like crazy grouping stuff. You know, if I had the grouping operator arcane, stuff like that. You know, obviously there's tons of ways to supplement a weapon that I am not doing, but it has been way over 5 minutes. Oh, you know, we almost hit 100 KPM. Not bad, not bad. Honestly, status chance on this thing's pretty good. Maybe Blast would be the way. It's full auto. It stacks things pretty quickly. And it has the ricochet rounds. The Blast Lato might not actually be bad at all, if you think about it. Tons of status chance, high fire rate. You know, you would get 10 blast stacks pretty fast, I'd imagine. And I think it would be pretty good. But that's it for me. I'm out of here. I'm going to life support run out and fail the mission. But get yourself a Lato Vandal this week and get yourself a Paris Prime Incarnon. Or just a Paris Incarnon, whatever you have access to. It'll be just as fine. But that's it for me. Adios.